Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Ink and Overalls. I'm Dedra, and I'm so glad you decided to join me today for another episode where we're going to do both things. We're going to answer a question, and it's going to turn into like the last installment of the Y series because I know I keep saying that this is the last, but it really probably is the last of the Y series. And we're going to dive into some new topics. I've already got a composting episode coming to you. We've got predator control coming to you. All kinds of fun stuff in the future. So, but I think I'm squared away right now. I can't make any promises. I've got one little man that just came in. Everybody else is settled. I just got bread out of the oven. I think we have a minute to talk. So let's do this. So like I said, today's, episode is going to be another why, but I'm answering a question too. And the question that came to me was, do homesteading and homeschooling go hand in hand? So that's something I was asked, and I've been thinking about it. And of course, like, I can give a short answer, but I'm going to like use this as kind of the movement into answering the why we homeschool type thing. Okay. So, do homesteading and homeschooling go hand in hand? The short answer is no. Like, I don't think for a second that you have to homeschool your kids if you choose homesteading as a lifestyle, and vice versa. If you homeschool your kids, that doesn't automatically make you a homesteader. If you don't want to be, that's up to you. Now, do I think that homesteading lends itself to a lifestyle that also is very typically accommodating of a homeschool lifestyle? Yes, I do. But I think that's all because homestead, right? Home is the word in homesteading. And you start there and you go like homeschooling, home cooking, homemade, everything kind of comes with it. It's kind of like an avalanche that kind of, comes at you when you start pursuing a slower life. Oftentimes a big part of that is getting your kids out of more of a, a standardized public school system or even a private school, and bringing them home so that you can do life together, so you can live life beside one another and they can learn things that you're doing. Because usually, I'm not gonna lie, on a homestead, we're doing some pretty cool stuff. My kids have seen me harvest honey. They have helped, with the process of butchering chickens to go in the freezer. That's their choice. They're not made to do that, but they have chosen to be a part of that process. They feed the animal. They help feed every day. They've got certain chores they do. And I think it's really, really a beautiful childhood. I really do. But it's not 100% what everybody, I know several homesteaders that are quite popular who send their kids to school. And it's not a big deal. You do what is right for your family. Like I said, I explained why I think that you kind of think those two things together. But here's another thing. Let's just be realistic. It's hard, especially right now in the economy that we're in the United States in particular. Like, it's very much necessary for a lot of families for both parents to work. That's just the way that bills have to be paid. That's like, I'm able to stay home, and my husband, he's the main breadwinner, and he works and he supports us. Now, I could go back to work if I needed to, and I don't look down on anybody who does it from either choice or from necessity, because everybody's life is different. And I never ever want to impose what I think on somebody else, because it takes all kinds to make the world go round, and what's right for your family is right for your family. And, but like I said, it does tend to, when you pursue that slower lifestyle, sometimes, homeschooling and homesteading, they do go hand in hand in your mind. But if you're working and your spouse or your partner, or even you're a single mom or single dad or whatever you are, you're working to support your lifestyle. Somebody's got to feed all these animals, right? You got to have money. Homesteading, like, we try to do it as cheaply as possible, and we want to be frugal and we want to be resourceful on a homestead. But let's just be honest with most of us, like, at least one person, if you have a partnership, is working, right? And if you're the only person, you're probably working, you're doing something. If you're the only one homestead, like at your place, and that's okay. But, so don't ever let the idea that, oh, well, I can't homeschool my kids, so I can't homestead because I have to work, No, we began homesteading when my husband and I were both working. And I was actually homeschooling my kids. They were much younger. When we lived in Florence, I only had two, and Jude was really the only one. My oldest was the only one who really needed instruction at the time. And we just did it on my off days. Now, I say that to say I know families who homestead and they send their kids to school and they both work on the homestead every day. I know families who both parents work and they send their children to school. I know people who both parents work and the mom still finds time and mom and dad tag team to get homeschool done. Or the mom has a schedule that allows her to do it all. So it's different for every family, and that's okay. Like I said, it takes all kinds of kinds. Like we need, we need to not idealize anything because just because something sings to our soul doesn't mean it sings to someone else's, because homeschooling can be very hard. Now, so I got all that out of the way. Whatever you choose for your lifestyle, that's your lifestyle. And, I just hope that it brings you joy and that it fills you up. And then if it doesn't, that there is another option along the way coming your way soon. That if you long for that, you long to homeschool your children, I pray that you'll have an opportunity to do that. If you are at a place right now where you're having to work and you can't homeschool your kids and you want to, I pray that you find peace and that you find peace in the journey, and knowing that, there may come a time that you're able to, but even if not, it doesn't decrease your value, and it doesn't mean that you can't make beautiful memories with your family and that you can't live a homesteading lifestyle. And, if you don't want to homeschool your kids, okay, don't do it. If what fills up your soul with joy is not having that on your shoulders and not shouldering that responsibility, I don't blame you. Go for it. So yeah, I'm never going to condemn anybody. I think you probably have learned that by now if you've watched any of my videos, that that's just not the way that I do things. So anyway, after I've already gone into all those tangents, I'll answer, why do we homeschool? Now this I can talk about because we homeschool. I've always homeschooled my kids from the time they were little bitty. It's just something, honestly, that my husband and I felt led to do. It is not something I ever envisioned for myself whenever I first began doing it, whenever he was just kind of in a preschool age type situation where it was very low stakes and there was plenty of time to figure out what I wanted to do. I never pictured myself as a homeschool mom, but it just kind of felt right as we progressed and as he got older and as he began learning his letters, and then he needed to know this. And then, I don't know, it just always felt right to be at home with them and to teach from home, which, I mean, and I'll say this, and I am a lifetime learner. I love to learn and I really enjoy teaching. And with my background in, science and things like that, I really feel pretty comfortable doing that. I don't know everything by any stretch of the imagination, but we live in such a time, guys. If you can, and you're thinking about homeschooling your kids, don't be intimidated and don't be afraid to take the step to try it, because we live in a day and age, guys, where we have got so many resources at our fingertips, like just right there for us. And we can learn anything you want to learn or teach your kids, we have access to, and usually you can even do it for free. So yes, there are different curriculums that cost different amounts of money. You can spend everything from this exponential amount on this, highly accredited curriculum, or you can go to the bottom of the barrel and you can find things that are free that'll teach your kids just fine. You may have to put a little more work into it to organize it and to get it all the way you want it to be. But honestly, there are options out there. So don't be intimidated or scared, because like I said, right now is this is the time. If you were ever placed anywhere in history that it was a really good time to try to homeschool your kids, in my opinion, we're here, because this is the technology age, right? We've got so much knowledge at our fingertips. And in my opinion, I'm you teach kids, obviously they need to read, they need to do math, they need to know the basics of sciences and all of those things. They need to be able to write a paper. But at the end of the day, if you can raise kids who are learners, who are excited about learning things in the world, who aren't afraid to try different things and be who they really are and who God made them to be, they're going to be fine. They are. They've got the want to learn things. They're going to pursue, they're going to find their thing. They're going to pursue it and it's going to be fine. Now my husband and I are both college graduates. We both have bachelor's degrees from universities, and that is something that we were raised was very important for us, and education was very important for our families and our parents bringing us up and all those things. And it's absolutely important. But I do feel like also we live in a time where, we kind of open our eyes a little bit more that you can be a successful person in lots of different ways. And I think that homeschooling goes right in along with all that. It doesn't have to look a certain way on paper for your child's education to be a success story. It's so much more than that. We've always, like I said, we've always homeschooled. We kind of fell into it. We felt led to do it. And, I kind of just took it a year at a time. And I would tell people whenever they'd ask me, why are you homeschooling, or do you homeschool? Or you're always going to homeschool? I would just say, yeah, I'm homeschooling right now. And if God tells me tomorrow to enroll my kids in school, then, it'll be hard, but I'll do it. And I still say that and I stick to that. Like if that's what's best for my children and God reveals that to me, then that'll be the steps we take. It's very much an exercise in faith, and it's very much the door's always open there. I'm not closed off to anything, because I think our lives change, things change, people change, everything. And what's right for us at one point, we don't need to be like so stuck in our ways that we're never open to any other opportunities. And so, yes, if I felt led to put my kids in school, then even though that would be a hard thing for me to do because I love having them at home, then I would have to make the best decision for them. So that said, as I'm continuing this journey, I can confidently say that right now my kids are where they need to be. I see my children thriving. I see them learning, and it's been a journey. Okay. Homeschool is not just school at home. You don't just sit down and do worksheets and think that that's the evidence of your child's learning. When you homeschool, like, everything is a learning opportunity. And I'm not saying that to be a lazy teacher or to, excuse my children if they're behind in a certain subject. That's just a joke anyway. But that's not what I'm doing. I'm literally saying, like, how much can our kids learn just from life in general? And my kids, like, one of them, she makes earrings. She's 11, and she has learned about business, about how to price things and how to, accommodate for what her supplies cost and the time it takes her to make her earrings and things like that. And my son is always thinking of ways that he can, turn things into profitable ventures. He's always, like, his creativity is just off the maps. And my youngest daughter, she's learning all she can about animals because she wants to be a veterinarian. And so she's, like, hands-on with me, doing all the things around here and, like, making steps with me and she's learning on her feet, man. We had to go with mastitis this last week we've been dealing with, and it's a lot because I'm constantly out there, checking on her and things like that. But I got my little helper beside me. And those are things I hope that she'll remember, and I hope that they'll remember. That's just like Alice is the one, she's 8. She's the one who wants to be a vet. And the other day she was helping me milk one of the goats, and because she's learning how to do it. And she was like, I think this will be one of my best memories one day. And it just made my heart so happy because, like, she knows she loves it because she's exposed to all these things, and she's learning while she's out there. And yes, we came right in and we did math and we do reading and we do all the things. But it's just a lifestyle, and it just, it does go hand in hand with homesteading in a lot of ways because it is a lifestyle. But like I said, it's not a necessary thing, but it's something I'm very happy we were led to do, and that I'm very thankful that I get to do, because I'm very aware it's not an option for everybody. And whether it's by choice or because you just don't have the ability to do it, it doesn't make you any less of anything. I try to be very aware that this is very much something that, I get to do. I'll put it that way. So some things to consider if you're considering homeschooling. I've already kind of thrown in Don't be discouraged. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Just come on and do it. Just step out and do it. It's going to be fine. But one of the best things I can tell you is if you do decide to homeschool and you're like pulling your kids out of a more traditional school setting, take some time to just kind of de-school your brain. Because, the 7 to 3 thing and the, strict schedule and needing to do all the busy work and all that, may not work for your kid, and it may not work for you, and it doesn't have to at home. That's part of the joy and the beauty of the homeschool situation. Okay. It's not for everybody. If it's going to stress you out and make you less of who you want to be, and you feel like it would just harm your relationship with your children or anything like that, it's all things to consider. But now sometimes we like to tell ourselves those things and they're not necessarily the truth, because it makes it easier for us to not step out and do something that might be a little scary, like homeschool our kids. So think of your why, think of your reasoning why. Whether you're sending your kid, whether it's from necessity or choice or being afraid, why you're making the choices that you're making. Because when you know that why, it can kind of settle your spirit, whether that's, like if it's a yes and no or not right now, as far as homeschooling goes with you and your family. Maybe, yes, you need to take the jump because you're able to, and it's time and you're just scared and you need to step out. Maybe it's a no because it's just not what's right for your family right now. Or maybe it's a not right now. And it's like the time is coming, but you're in the hallway and that's okay. Just praise him in the hallway and just get through it and it's going to be okay. So, that's just something to consider. Just think of your why. If it's something you've thought about doing, why aren't you doing it? Like I said, you may not be able to, and that's okay, because your life does not go unnoticed. I'm a believer, which is obvious because I can't talk and not talk about it, but God sees you and he knows your situation, and your kids are going to be just fine. It's going to be okay. If you're just unable right now, if your life has dictated a completely different path for you at this moment than you had planned for yourself, and maybe you've had to put your kids back in school, or maybe you just can't pull them out right now. You have to work, or, you've got to take care of sick family members or whatever it is. Like, don't get discouraged, because your journey doesn't have to look a certain way to be beautiful. Okay. I'm always like, I was even hesitant to talk about this subject just because I'm not like, oh, you've got to do this because this is the only way your family can be beautiful. No, that's not true. Families look all different sorts of ways. They do all sorts of things. And at the end of the day, if you're living well, you're loving each other well, and you're spending your days in a way that, brings you life and is life-giving to you and your family, and you have peace about that, just keep rolling. Don't let anybody make you feel less than. If you're a homesteader who, has to work, then kudos to you, because one of my heroes, my best friend Jennifer, she was a homesteader who worked full-time as a nurse in the OR in a hospital in Jackson. And she was raising a daughter who was in school, and she was doing a dang good job. She had 3 kids. She was raising a son and a daughter at the time that I knew her. One of her other daughters, I think, was already out of the house because she's a little older. And, those kids were going to school and they were doing their thing. They were in band and all the things. And she went to work, and she was showing goats on the weekends, and she was making goat's milk soap and milking every day, and had chickens she was raising, and she was doing those things. And I look back, I'm like, how in the world did she get it all done? She's a rock star. She wasn't homeschooling her kids, but she was a rock star. And so that's what her journey looked like. And that's all right. So, yeah, Jennifer, she's not with us anymore, but that was my soul sister. And I promise you, if I ever compared you to her, that you're doing just fine. If you're working in homesteading and sending your kids to school and that's what your life looks like, you go, girl. Or you go, dude. You do what you got to do. Yeah. So anyway, if you are, thinking about pulling your kid out of, traditional school setting, You may want to look at the, obviously look at your state requirements as far as what's required of you homeschooling your kid in your state, your particular state. Some states require testing. Some require that you turn in like a binder. In Mississippi, you just fill out a sheet and you're done, which is spectacular. So much freedom in that. But yeah, you just want to look into that. Usually the HSLDA website, I don't know if it's .org or what it is. Let me check that. Okay. Yes, I had to double check. And hslda.org is the website. It's the Homeschool Legal Defense Association, I think is what it stands for. But if you go to their website, they have a tab that's actually called Legal. And you go under Legal and you go to State Homeschool Laws. And you just find your state and they will tell you how strict your state is, compared to others. And then what your homeschool laws are in your state. So that's easy enough to figure out because that can be intimidating too. But that website just tell you right there kind of where to start and what to do. But anyway, okay, I've talked a lot. I feel like I've talked in circles. I apologize if I have. Yeah, I guess that's about all I've got for you today. I appreciate you listening to me. I'm here on Wednesdays at 7 Central on Wally Media Group on YouTube. And you can find me on audio platforms like Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcast, all of those. On Sundays, I post the audio. You can also access that through the website, which is www.inkandoveralls.com. And there's a link there for podcasts, and all of our episodes are right there for you to listen to. And also, you can link there to our merchandise, like our shirts and things like that. I've got an amazing sweatshirt ordered. I can't wait to show you guys. It's so cool. It says Dirt Diva. I'm hoping I have it to wear in like one of the next episodes. But anyway, merchandise is there. My website is there where I sell my soaps and things like that. If you got a question or like a suggestion as far as content goes, there's actually a form there where you can get in touch with us. And I would love to hear, if you've got a question that you'd like to see answered on the show or just a general topic you'd like to see discussed. I'd love to hear what you got to say. And as always, I appreciate you liking, sharing, subscribing, doing all the things. If you don't mind, hit the like button if you've made it this far on the video down below, and subscribe to Wally Media Group if you haven't already, so that you can sign up for notifications and not miss any of our uploads. And yeah, I guess that's about it. So until next time, I hope that you find the beauty wherever you are. Remember, your life is beautiful, your story is beautiful, and you're worthy. And I hope you have a good day. Bye.